Hi, everybody. Robin here at Toadstool Tarot. Welcome back. Here we are between the holidays. Thanksgiving just passed. I guess this is Thanksgiving weekend, so maybe people are still sort of partaking. I don't know. And not yet Christmas. We got a month to go? Almost. Almost? What's today? Today's the 29th. Less than a month. Yeah, 4 days less than a month to go till Christmas. It's just coming too fast, isn't it? I wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, I was so excited this morning to watch Marilyn's Tarot Take walkthrough of the Grim Tales Tarot, which I hadn't heard about before. And then after I saw her video, I noticed a lot of other people had done walkthroughs. It came out maybe 2-3 weeks ago, the deck. And I was so excited by it that as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to rush up to Barnes & Noble and buy a copy. I was going to get it on Amazon, but I don't think I could even wait a full day. So I'm going to zip up there and get a copy before the rest of my day's adventures. And I was going to share it on my channel next week, my thoughts and opinions with a walkthrough. However, I forgot that I won't have a show next Saturday because holiday and all. I got tickets for me and a friend to go to see the opera The Magic Flute in the theater. Now, this is at the Met, but the Met seating is not that comfortable, and for the seats that we might be able to afford in the Met, we'd be way up in the top, which would be fine for the audio. But the commercials I've seen for the Magic Flute are very visual, and I would want to be able to see it better. So we're going to see it in a theater, and there's a nice theater near us that has the big cushy loungy chairs, and we can see it much better on a big screen. And it's not quite the same as being there live, but in some ways it's better because the seating will be more comfortable. The sound will be great. The visuals will be great, although we will be tied to whatever the camera happens to be cutting and panning and zooming in on stage. But I'm very excited about that. And there's only one showing of it, which is 1 o'clock or so next week, which is during the time I'm usually here. So I won't be here. I'll miss you guys. I'll see you the second weekend in December, and I'll do a walkthrough hopefully then of the Grimm's Tales Tarot. So let me see who's here. We have Marilyn, of course. Hello. Will's Tarot Path. Red Wing. M.A. Rolf. Hello. And that's it so far. So another thing I wanted to tell you about, I'm really excited about, is I had a lot of fun this week. A friend of mine has kind of introduced me to using ChatGPT, and I know there's all these controversies about AI, but I've been kind of having fun with it and creating things that I am not personally capable of. In terms of writing, I can do my own writing. In terms of art, I can do my own art in my style, but if I want something in a different style, I'm not competent to do that. And I've always wanted to do a signature t-shirt. So what I did, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well, but I went on ChatGPT and I did this t-shirt of my name, Robin Crutchfield. So we have a Robin perching on a crutch. I'll tell you the prompts. I think I said, I want an image in a square format of a vintage illustration of an American robin songbird perched on a crutch in a field of hundreds of crutches set against an autumn background. And this is what we got. Now, the camera is probably not picking up all the little crutches down here, but it came out really well, I thought. I really, really loved it. And I love the sort of like pun of, my name kind of being an image, I liked it so much. I also had a little mug done. Oh, here you can see the crutches a little bit better. And yeah, so there's my signature in, I guess you might even call it a rebus or something. So yeah, this is two-sided. And these things are so affordable. I had the image done on ChatGPT and then downloaded the image, and then I uploaded it to Vistaprint, which is very reasonable. And Vistaprint does these really nice soft t-shirts, and this was like under $20. I think it was like $14 or somewhere between $10 and $14 for a t-shirt. And then of course you have the shipping. So I think all in all, I got this shirt for, I don't know, 24 maybe or something with the shipping, which was great. So I'm really excited about that. And the mug, I think the mugs were like 14. So anyway, it's kind of fun. So you might want to play with that. Let's see what's going on. Okay, might as well start now. If you've been following me over the past many weeks, I have been doing a tarot clear out shelf by shelf in my apartment in order to make shelf space for new decks that I might use as opposed to the ones that I don't use. Hello, Saskia. And we are now up to shelf number 10. I don't actually have 10 shelves worth of tarot. I've actually moved from there onto my bed. I'm sharing half of a twin-size bed with piles and trays of tarot. But what I've done is I pulled some of the pile off into what would amount to, let's say, a shelf number 10. And so I'm going to go through these with you, and some of them I will keep, and some of them will go into my move it on along box. So let's see, where do we start? All right, first I'm going to start with this. This is the Tarot Francois Gasman 1840. Now this has been in and out of my purgatory box 3 times. So I think that should tell me you're not ready to let this go. Comes in a really nice hefty 2-part box. And I believe when I got it that the corners were sharp. And I think I used my handy corner rounder to make it more workable for me, because I like round corners. I can't deal with like sharp corners that might tend to get like dog-eared or catch in a sleeve or, cut your skin, So yeah, I don't like those sharp corners. Now, one of the reasons I fell in love with this deck was this funny looking Ace of Cups, because it looked to me like something from an old Jello mold or something. I just like that sort of bulbous quality of that cup. I also like the Fool. I mean, no, not the Fool. The Hanged Man in this particular deck is very different than we often are used to. He almost looks sort of like Houdini in pre-escape mode or something. And the Devil's kind of humorous. as Marseille decks go. It's kind of nice. The colors are sort of nice. I don't usually like the primary colors in Marseille decks, and these are tweaked a little bit to be more pale. It's not my favorite shade of green. This is a little bit sort of a hospital pukey green, but you know, I like the more, I like orangey reds as opposed to like, you know, those bold cherry reds, or I don't even know, they're not even really cherry. I don't know what that color red is. Blood, it's not really blood red either in terms of accuracy. But I like this as sort of orangey, and the blue, there is some dark blue, but the light blues are kind of a sky blue, I guess. The yellows are a little bit washed out. So it's a little on the pale side. I don't use Marseille decks very often, but this is a little different than most. Can't remember if this one is the traditional Pope and High Priestess or the Juno and Jupiter. I want to say, let me just look real fast. Okay, it's traditional. We have the Papess. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna probably hang, you know, I think lesson learned, if it was in and out of my purgatory box 3 times, that I will keep reaching for it eventually. So I should hang on to this. So I'm going to keep this. And it was limited. It was number 293 out of 1,500. So that's staying at least for a while longer, at least another 6 months. This is one that I recently got, the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. I don't know how many of you have this. I don't, again, I don't use oracles very often. This has a little ribbon kind of pull-out drawer that's very snug. And I'm not really big on these big boxes that take up a lot of real estate. This had a sort of plastic tray in the bottom, dividing the deck in 2 parts. It's got a very nice guidebook. And this is typically not something that I'm into, not only because it's Oracle, but it's like astrology related. And I don't really do astrology, although at some point I might, you never know. Oh, hello. I wanted to welcome in Marilyn and Kristen. Hello. So, yeah, I think what I'm going to do, I almost hate to do this because I don't know if this is going to stay in my collection for a long time, but I think I'm going to ditch the box and just keep the book on my shelf along with the cards, which I currently have in a little pouch. But let me just show you, I think I only showed this a few weeks ago, but let me just give you a glance at the cards. They're sort of playing card size. They got a sun on the back. I like the sort of like antique-y look of the graphics on these. And they've got a keyword on them. And I think there is a whole system to this in the book, but I don't think you necessarily need that. I mean, if I'm using it as an oracle, I can be inspired by the images or just kind of play with the keyword as I give it some publicity and some patience. So it's going to take me a little while to kind of learn this or get familiar with it. It's still very new to me. I think the newness of it makes me wonder about getting rid of the box right away, because if I decide to pass it on, whoever else might get it might want the box. But it's still in print and it's fairly reasonable. So, I mean, I guess they could get a new one in a box. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about keeping boxes just for the possibility of reselling it later. It's no, I mean, if I'm that much about the deck and not about the box, I should probably just get rid of the box, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this deck, but I'm kind of intrigued by it, and it's still really new to me. So I'm going to hang on to that a while. And these little sort of velveteen pouches, fold over pouches, they have a flap that folds out that will hold like a maybe 3 to 5 card spread. And they're really nice. And I think you get like 2 or 3 of them for like $10 or something on Amazon. So that's fun. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm hanging on to that. I'm hanging on to the book. I'm going to put the box aside. What's next? Next I have, all right, let's go here next. This is something else I got on Amazon, these little like leatherette tarot boxes, which I really love. They're great. I think they might be about 19 or something. Not really sure. Madame Maru has it. She put hers in a bag, but put the book in a box, in the box. This one is, I can tell by the back, it's a Patrick Valenza deck. It is the Trionfi della Luna Scenic, or Illustrated, I guess they call it. He calls it. And I think this one came with something like 8 devils, and I chose, there were a few choices. There might have been a couple different judgment cards too. I chose the ones that I like, and then I have the rest kind of in a storage overflow box of various extraneous cards from him and other people. That's the devil I chose. And of all his decks, this one and the original Trionfi are the ones that I like and use the most. I'm not one of the big sort of Deviant Moon fans. I do have a paradoxical Deviant Moon. I don't have the original one. And I was gifted the book. And the book was fascinating to look through. I don't know that it's something I need to hold on to. It was interesting to see, but it is a very large, heavy coffee table type book. You know, the book probably would be better to go to somebody who's a big fan of him, a more major fan than I am. Although I have a number of his decks, I probably have about 7 or 8 different Oracle decks and things from him. But in terms of usage, this is the one that I tend to use the most, and I don't use this one that often. But anyway, I'm going to hang on to this. What's next? I don't think there's a lot of them today I'm going to be getting rid of, but you know, you never know. Okay, here's a little pouch. This is a Peggy Papez tarot bag. She does very nice bags. And this is, of all, I'm not a big collage deck person, but of all the collage decks, this one is my favorite. It's the Golden Tarot by Cat Black. I like this kind of a box, although it's a little bit loose, so if you're going to transport it anywhere, it's probably better also to have it in a bag so that the top doesn't fall off and the cards fall out everywhere. It's got a nice hefty guidebook to it. It's pretty thick. There are a couple different, I think there's like 3 different editions of this. The first one I got was matte cards, And then I traded with a friend that had the glossy ones. And usually I don't like glossy cards, but in this deck, I like the glossy because this is kind of collage from medieval masterpiece paintings that you would see in a museum, and they would be shellacked and or covered, or behind a glass frame, in a gold frame, and somehow that seems to suit the high gloss, which I love. And these are like computer collaged or computer assist collage, which I like. Really, really well done. So you don't see edges like in a collage where scissors and glue and paper have been used. But I'm particularly fond of the sort of medieval quality of this. Nice death card like this. Sorry about the gloss. I mean, it's the charm in person, but on screen it doesn't really work so well on camera. So that's the Golden Tarot by Cat Black. Love it. Gonna keep it. I was gonna say, besides the matte and the gloss, there's now a more recent version, I believe, on linen stock, which I haven't got. It sounds appealing, but I don't really know if I want another copy of this. So that's that. I have the Golden Cat. Kristen has it, but it goes unused. Saskia has it. It's beautiful. Kristen uses where is it? Paradoxical Rose the most. I like to have 8 chances to get the devil when I use it, so I left them all in. LOL, says MA. I chose the Skinny Woman Devil. I believe she's purple, says Kristen. MA loves that deck. Very sassy. Excuse me. Kristen got the Golden to use for Catholic querents, but never have Catholic querents. Okay, next one I have in this another one of those velveteen pouches, or it's not really velveteen, it's actually like suede cloth. You can see how they roll out, and it gives you space for about say five of your average cards. I love them for cafes and such. Now, this was what you call an impulse purchase. I was trolling and scrolling around MPC and came across this deck, and I was intrigued. It's an AI deck. I don't have anything like it, and it's just intriguing enough that it's one of the few AI decks I have that I really think I want to keep. These are the backs. It's like MPC 30, I guess, or whatever, stock. Nice thickness for me. I love that. And these are kind of based on, I think when they did this, they said, make me a horrifying, a deck of horrified faces in the style of Van Gogh, because a lot of them are that way. Now, they don't necessarily, I love the bold colors. I love the outrageous screaming faces. It's very, very fun see, there's Van Gogh. Very fun for around Halloween. They don't necessarily follow the archetypes, but since the labels are there, I can read with it. And I just get a kick out of it. I mean, it's not even scary in a way. I guess it's meant to be scary, but it's just so outrageous and silly and goofy that it really kind of, it's like every single card is like, a depiction of horror in some manner or another. And I just kind of get a kick out of it. So, I mean, it's not one I probably would read for others with. This reminds me of Kristen a little bit. So, yeah, I was just I just got a kick out of this. So I had to have it. So I forget what this is called. Usually when I have a deck that I can't remember the name of and I'm going to be showing it, I put a little card inside with or label with the name handwritten on it. But I didn't do that here, so I can't remember the name. So if this is something that appeals to any of you, you either have to scroll back in my channel to see the walkthrough, or you have to scroll through all the pages of MPC in order to find it, because I can't remember. But if you go, it's easier probably if you go to my channel walkthrough, because I think I probably left a link for MPC, so you could just go right there. Anyway, whatever that's called, something like the Horror Tarot or the Terror Tarot or something like that. Anyway, I'm going to hang on to that because I get a kick out of it. Now we have another one of those pouches. Let's see. What is this one? Oh, this one, if any of you know Robert Farah's channel, Tea and Tarot, he's a very persnickety guy from Berlin who was a rock musician and has been doing tarot for many years. He's got a fun, very opinionated channel, and I get a kick out of it because I consider, someone labeled me the card curmudgeon, and I embrace that gladly. And I think he is very similarly inclined in terms of being curmudgeonly, and I call him persnickety. What did I call him? I had a name for him. I can't remember. It was somebody's name with a P, something persnickety. Percival Persnickety or something like that. Anyway, I get a kick out of his channel, but that's neither here nor there. You'll probably recognize him or know of him. He wears an Andy Warhol white wig, you know. His hair is beautifully white and sticks up in every direction. He's highly entertaining and very informed in terms of tarot. Now, he showed this on his site. It's a deck that's been reprinted and reformatted in a not very good way, but if you look on eBay, you can find it. It's the Ator Tarot by Robin Ator, who did, I think he did a deck that I used to have that I got rid of that had universal symbols, you know, the sort of generic kind of images like when you have on restrooms, the male and female images. They have, Robin Ator did a deck of universal tarot symbols like that. It was in Rider-Waite-Smith poses and styles and coloration, but he substituted the kind of drawings Pixie did with these universal symbols, which is kind of fun, but I never used it. And a couple of the colors in the palette kind of rubbed me the wrong way. That's an over exaggeration. I just wasn't keen on them. Anyway, he did this one, and oh my gosh, now I can't. Oh, it's called the Ator Tarot. That's why. And so this is like a sort of a, it's kind of like playing card size, but I think they're a little bit larger. It's more like playing card format. And it's sort of a kind of a cartoony version of Pixie's illustration. I love the way the eyes kind of float right off the face. But it's colorful, it's playful, it's fun. If you like the Rider-Waite-Smith system, but you're not a fan of Pixie's illustration style, this might appeal to you. It almost has a feel like The Simpsons or something like that, a little bit, maybe, kind of. It's fun and light and easy to use. I don't usually lean in the direction of comedy or amusement when I'm dealing with tarot. I sort of like it to be more serious, but every once in a while you need something to lighten the mood a little bit. And this is kind of refreshing, you know? This kind of takes the creep out of the creepy baby a little bit. So that's the Ator Tarot. It's out of print. It's not that cheap if you can find it. I think it's close to 100. Some Golden says Flintstones. A little bit. Saskia says, I think Robert's great. Very eloquent, he is. But he's also very opinionated, which you don't often get from tarot hosts. And I like opinions. It's not necessarily mean, his opinions. They are critical. And I like to be able to, I like it when people express what their likes and dislikes in a way that I can get a perspective on them. Like, if I know where they're coming from and they gravitate to the kind of decks I like, then I tend to respect their opinion more when they have a deck I don't know that they like. You know, I'm more apt to like want to get that than just randomly buy a deck or go by an opinion about someone that reviews all decks and gives, 95% or all of them positive reviews. And so you don't often see negative reviews on Tarot Tube, although I guess sometimes you do. But sometimes the negative reviews are nasty. And I don't think there's any reason to be nasty. I think you can say what elements you like and don't like and why without it being like that's shit or that's crap, That's not necessary, I don't think, to have that kind of express that kind of attitude. It's not that helpful either. Anyway, I'm hanging on to the Ator Tarot. What do we got next? I got something in a purple velvet pouch. Oh, this is, oh, God knows. I can't remember even what this is called. I never liked the backs. These are a little bit larger than regular tarot cards. It's not a tarot deck. These are actually like Rorschach ink blots. And for me, this is basically a Rorschach oracle. I see what I see in the cards when I look at them. I don't remember. I think there's a guidebook with it, and I have it somewhere on my shelves. I never referred to it. I think when I first got it, I did. And this is more of like a psychological book study or something than it is like a woo-woo sort of a deck. But I liked the idea of just sort of like putting these out in a spread and just kind of like daydreaming on them and see what comes out, almost like scrying, in a mirror or a black glass or a crystal ball. Yeah, it's that quality of pareidolia, where you see images where they aren't, or people see different images in different blots and things. I can't remember what this is called. Again, if you're really intrigued, just go scrolling on my channel. At some point back there, you will find a walkthrough of this along with the name of the deck. I like that enough to hang on to it. It's unique. It's different. Where are we at? Oh, 134. We're more than halfway. Better get a move on. I got here next the Y Spell Starlight Tarot deck, the blue edition. I got this 2 or 3 months ago, maybe. And Oh, people are sorting stuff out in the chat. Thank you for helping each other when I'm doing other things here. Okay, Red Wing dislikes the A Tour and likes Pixie's art. Will enjoys Robert even when he disagrees. Yeah. He always makes an eloquent argument. His channel's called Tea and Tarot. And he usually posts on Sundays, just like a brief post. Sometimes he does live, sometimes he does like just little short clips. But they're usually subject oriented. A lot of them have to do with tarot books and which ones he finds more value in, which are more scholarly, which are well researched, and maybe not so much. So you can tell he's been at it for a long time and has a much more scholarly attitude towards tarot than moi. So Starlight Blue Edition in a hard to get off 2-part box, but very sturdy box. It's got a nice little guidebook, which I haven't referred to, gilt edge. And I think this one, while also being appealing, having sort of spot gold foil accents, I think this was really cheap. I think this might have been under 20 or something. It was like 17 or 14 or I don't know. I saw it somewhere and I thought, wow, that's amazing value for the production. You know, it is in Rider-Waite Smith kind of scenes. The palette is limited to oranges and blues. It's very dark. It's kind of a night sky tarot. And I really like it. I haven't used it. It's one of those things where, you know, if you acquire decks too quickly, maybe you don't have time to use them. And this is one of my sort of impulse purchases in the last 6 months or so. And I tend to kind of use the decks, 5 decks I love the most over and over on a day-to-day basis. And I just kind of didn't really get around to incorporating this. I think when I got it, I used it 2 or 3 times at the cafe, and then I gravitated back towards my favorites, but I do like it. So I'll keep that. Oh, hello, Aspasia, Beth. Marilyn got it, the Y spell, as part of the Kickstarter. Okay. Next is, this one, I like decks in a tin, and they almost don't have enough of them out there to entertain or appeal to me, but I loved having a little deck that comes in a tin. I got this one. This is the Zodiac Tarot. And I'm not really a Zodiac person. And each card has like a constellation or something, I think, in the sky, which I'm not that keen on. But, or do they? Maybe they don't. Some do, some don't. I don't know. It's glossy. I like the card size. It's highly glossy. Simple little back. And again, it's like a night sky themed darker it's bright pop colors against a dark night sky, which is sort of refreshing if you have a lot of kind of sunny, bright colored daytime decks. These images are really kind of nice and set off in a nice way against the dark backgrounds. The images are kind of hard edge, I guess. Are they? So my lighting's crap in here. I have low lighting because it's comfortable for me mostly, but also I have cheap lamp structures that warn you not to put like bulbs over 60, 75 watts. Otherwise, they'll heat up to the point that you might cause a fire. So I should just invest maybe in better lamps or lighting, but I don't. I kind of like indirect lighting too. So that's why the lighting is so crappy. And, I don't generally gravitate towards really dark decks or decks where the images are hard to see, because to really enjoy them, I need to take them to a cafe or wear a headlamp. And I do own a headlamp, but those decks tend to not get as much use. Anyway, this is kind of nice, and I haven't been tempted to let this go yet, so I will hang on to it. What's next? Oh, this was probably one of the last decks that I got, and I really love it. And it's the cards are a little bit thick and a little hard to shuffle. I think they might be a little bit taller than regular tarot cards. And I forget what this is called. This is one I actually did write on the card, the thank you card. And here it is, the Soul Path Tarot. It did come with a little canvas bag from this company. We ran as if to meet the moon. I don't know. I don't think it says the name of the company or the printer, but it was from Turkey, and I got it on Etsy, I think. And I think it also said that they used AI, but AI is getting so good these days that it's kind of hard to tell vintage from, AI. These are the backs. The borders are a little bit much, but I don't want to putz with, trimming the borders down, because they're heavily laminated, which is probably why the deck is a little thick. And I'm afraid that the lamination might separate from the card if I go to trimming them. I haven't really done that yet, and I can deal with it. I love the sort of old-fashioned art style, and they also, each one comes with I don't usually like cards to be as wordy as I'm being with you guys, but each card comes with a kind of a one-liner description of what it's like. For the High Priestess, it says, "In silence, truth awakens, trust it." So when I do readings with these, I know the labels, I use the images, and rarely do I lean into the little word description, but sometimes it's nice to have a little highlight of that. So again, I have walkthroughs of all these on my channel. I love sort of mysterious Middle Ages, medieval, Renaissance kind of imagery. And these are sort of vintagey looking illustrations, which I really like. Looks like an old tarot deck that could have come out back in the 1920s or 30s or something like that, or even the late 1800s. And I like the bright, cheery colors, even though some of the images are a little bit on the sort of moody side. Isn't that pretty? Yeah. Let's see. Curiosity sparks youthful fire. Page of Wands. Yeah, I really like that. So that's the Soul Path Tarot. It's one of my current favorites. I probably would carry it and use it more than I do, except for the unwieldiness of the size. The deck is a little heavy, and the cards are a little bit large and thick, so it's not as easy to shuffle. or handle, so I don't use it as often as I'd like, but I have, it probably is among my top 5 or 6 most used decks currently. That's, where are we at? 145. I better get moving here. Hey, here I have in a little purple velvet bag, and this is a really lush velvet, not the kind of cheap velvet, pseudo velvet cloth. This is the Oldfellow Tarot, which is the redoing of the Keishobu Japanese tarot, which is, these are on makeplayingcards.com. They have several versions. One's an updated with recoloring in pigmentation and hair color, but this one is kind of a vintage color of the original, which I laughingly refer to as the deck of the blondes, because it's a Japanese deck, but all the characters in it are blonde. And it's kind of a combination of Marseille style and scenic Rider-Waite. And they're kind of close. It's beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it. And the color palette is limited to kind of a tint of the primary colors that I'm okay with. I mean, sort of like teal and tomato red, kind of, and mustard yellow versus some of the brighter colors. The images are kind of close-ups on the Rider-Waite Smith scenes. Very easy to work with and very enjoyable. Yeah, I love this. I never quite know whether to call it Oldfellow or Keishobu, and I'm tempted to go with the label I like, which is the Deck of the Blondes. But if I do, nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. But that is a favorite. It's probably in my top 10 decks of all time. So that's not going anywhere. Let's see. A TDM style RWS. Devil and Death escaped the blonde theme. Really likes the colors. That's wild. Like the art. Really pretty. Okay. Next, in another velvet bag. This is another one I got on Etsy recently. It's the Tarot of the Master. And it says, I don't know, I can't remember where I got this. I mean, I got it on Etsy, and I think it was shipped from abroad, but it might have been Ukraine. A lot of these decks that I like, that one that looked sort of like medieval and antique, that was done in Turkey. This one was done, I believe, in the Ukraine. Excuse me. This is the Tarot of the Master, which I believe you can maybe still get through Los Scarabeo or one of those, but I think I didn't like that one because it had multilingual titles along the border, and I don't like the multi-language titles, but also they were down one side, which made it asymmetrical, so you couldn't trim them off because the back then wouldn't be symmetrical. So this one is nicely bordered with a little kind of a burgundy border. I don't really use it. It's kind of a historic deck, I guess. I don't know, I guess this is originally Italian design. It's still pretty new to me. I don't know how much I'm going to be using it, but for now, I will hang on to it. I get a feeling that I probably will use it at some point some more. So that's staying. Some quick ones here. This is one of my decks, the Word Tarot Oracle. Not that well conceived. It's kind of clunky. When I did it, the idea behind it was I wanted to make a deck for anybody on the planet who wanted to read tarot but didn't want to bother learning the system. I did this in like 2 years ago. Word Tarot Oracle. And those are the backs. I mean, no images on this, really boring. I do have one card with associations on it that will give you, it's a majors only deck. So I have, for instance, 0 on the back is 0 for the Fool. And then the word that I associated with the Fool was explore. So I have major arcana correspondences. And what I was trying to do was equate the major archetypes with one single key word that could describe them. And it's not, I don't know if I'm entirely happy with it. It's one of those things that how can you pick one word for an archetype and be satisfied with it? I did change my mind several times. So I'm not sure that this is the best and final version, but I also don't know whether I want to bother with it anymore. So I have a number on it, so you can connect the number with the key, but also if you know your major arcana, you know number 5 is the Hierophant. So instead of Hierophant, I have the word mentor. And 2 is the High Priestess, which I have search, which when I think about it now, I'm not sure search is the best word for the High Priestess. 17 guidance, that's the star. I always use this. I always think of the star as a guiding star, a guiding light. So yeah, you might argue with me that some of these don't work, but you know, you could still use it as an oracle irrespective of the tarot. Just the key words are kind of like meaningful enough to stop and consider things. No, it's not one of my decks that I'm that proud or crazy about, but it's on NPC. I'll hang on to that just because it's part of my output, and you know, may need to refer to it again at some point in the future. I have here also, I have in a single box. I love these little plastic boxes you can get on NPC. This one holds 2 majors decks. One is my Open Face Tarot, which you mostly probably, if you've watched my channel, you've seen a million times. This is the small version without any titles on it, and the archetypes are pretty obvious when you look at them. And if you don't know what this is the extra card. This is the question card, the who are you, what are you, when are you, why are you kind of card in this moment. There's the Tower. So yeah, I mean, they're pretty easy to see what they are. I use it every day. Actually, I use the linen version every day. I also have regular stock, and I have a plastic version. Then I also have a signature Toadstool Tarot deck, which is this little one here, this sort of like domino shape cards that are small with toadstools on them. And it's got, it's the major arcana plus 4 court cards and 4 elements. So it's an odd little combination. It's kind of like a reduced tarot 78 without the ace through 10 of all the suits, and instead of the elements of cups, swords, pentacles, and wands, I have earth, air, fire, water. So, I mean, if you're into mushrooms, if you want, or toadstools, they're not accurate colors or whatever. They're kind of cartoony. Some of them do kind of like lean into, what they might look like as characters or whatever. But yeah. So that's my Toadstool Tarot deck. Obviously, I'm hanging on to those. Here we have a Lenormand, which I took out of the big box. It's got a big box with a really nice guidebook by, I think, Caitlin Matthews. It's I think it's called the Enchanted Lenormand, maybe. And if anybody here is waiting or hurrying to get out to go to Simon's channel, I believe he has a meeting or a vacation or something today where he's not doing a live. I'm pretty sure. So there's no need to rush unless you have another channel or show you need to go to. Yeah, this is a Lenormand. One of my favorite Lenormands. I did design my own, but I like this one. I like that it's a little bit glossy to share here, but I like the fact that each image is kind of inside of a crystal ball or a bubble, and that the images have this almost fairy tale like era of I don't know, 1700s, Brothers Grimm or something. Colonial kind of era. Really nice illustrations. It's the clouds. Yeah, I saw this actually on Elemental Cartomancy, Chris's channel, and fell in love with it. Excuse me a second. The book is really good. Yeah, Marilyn says. In terms of learning Lenormand, it's a great little guidebook. All right, what do we got here? Next is Lonely Dreamer Tarot. This was the first edition, which ticked me off because I don't remember if I joined I don't think I did the Kickstarter, but I raced to get in on, the few leftover decks from the Kickstarter and got one. And then within 2 or 3 months, she redid the deck and changed some of the cards, which pissed the hell out of me because it wasn't a cheap deck. So I have the original one and hold a little bit of a grudge over that. Some of the cards were improved on, but I wasn't going to dish out another 70 or 80 bucks or whatever for a deck just because she decided that she wasn't ready to publish. So she published a second edition. This one does have a kind of a linen feel to it. And these are based on the paintings of Odilon Redon, a symbolist painter. And the deck is very moody, melancholy, beautiful colors, very daydreamy, and very pretty, very nice. I don't use it very often, but I do like it. I like his paintings and his artwork. And she kind of superimposed things like swords in order to make the paintings, suit the tarot system, and did a pretty good job of it. But I wish she had waited to publish this 3 months longer than she did, and not have a second edition. Just decide what she really wanted and do it. Or, do it and stick to it, not change it. Or if she was going to change it, give it a year or two in between the first and the second edition, not 2 months. That just really ticked me off. I have this deck, lovely deck, but I never use it. It says Saskia. I don't know if she's talking about this one or the Lenormand, but what's next? Oh, this is a favorite of mine. This is the Adam Fronteras Tarot. This is for people that like Rider-Waite-Smith, but they don't like the colors in the deck. I love, these are like skinny cards, which I like. It's sort of tarot size, but narrower. And the backs, which you can't see, probably have little suns on them. And you can see the coloration's a little different. It's kind of like the Frankie Albano a little bit. They're like a nice kind of a vanilla or beige background. And if you like the alternate kind of coloring, as opposed to the coloring Pixie gave the deck, or the publishers gave Pixie's art, then this might appeal to you. It is out of print. It comes with a nice little book. Came out in the mid-90s, I believe. The drawback is it is severely, well, I don't know about severely, it is cropped. So you get the images, but a lot of them, like I think even her signature there is like cropped off a little bit. You get you get part of the images kind of chopped off, but you get the main idea of most of them in the card. I mean, if you can read from it readily, and despite the cropping, I really love it. I love it both for the alternate coloring and for the comfort and the size of the cards to hold and handle. We're a little past 2, and I'm going to keep going. I may or may not have lost some of you. See who's still with you. Marilyn's actually using that Lenormand this week. Paul Warmby suggested it for my first Lenormand. Yeah. Lonely Dreamer. Okay. That's the one she doesn't use. This one, another one of those weird little boxes these are really heavy duty and really nice. This is kind of a little bit oversized card. It's great that it fits in this particular box. This is one Simon showed ages ago, and I got really excited about. Nobody else, I don't think, was particularly excited. I think it's called Tarot for All Ages, which is the crappy title for a deck. I don't care for the backs particularly, and they're that matte stock, little thick but manageable. But I really like stylized art, and these are very stylized images that I'm particularly fond of. They're fun. They're kind of like a children's art book or something, but there's just something about the way that they're done and the color palette and everything that I really love. And I think a couple of the images were changed. Like this is greed, which is instead of the devil, you have greed. So, I mean, a couple of the cards that I think they tried to make it so that it wouldn't be frightful to children or young potential tarot readers. So they did change a couple of the names. And I just love the color palette and the style of this deck, the style of the art. Oh, this one. Here's one that was changed. Idea. And I'm not sure about the changing of the name. 20, which I believe is, well, because of the trumpet, this must be judgment, but they referred to it as idea. So I don't know about that, but I don't know. I just really like the imagery in it. So yeah, I'm gonna hang on to this. I did have a backup copy, which at some point I decided, well, this has kind of dropped off my top 5 favorites, and I don't need a backup anymore. I don't use it that often, so I let the backup go. I think when it came out, I was so excited. I tried to contact the creator to interview her on my channel, but she just sort of said, that she thought the deck should stand on its own, and she wasn't particularly interested in being questioned about it. So that was that. How many tarot shelves you have? It's tricky, Golden. I don't have them strictly designated as tarot. It's like wherever I have space on a shelf, I put tarot decks. And some of the shelves that used to hold books or CDs or DVDs now hold tarot. So it's like wherever a space is made, then it gets filled in with tarot. So just glancing, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, I'm kind of on 10 now, but as I said when I started, 10 is not really a shelf. It's more like overflow from my bed. But I pulled off enough that usually each shelf would hold about 20 decks or so. Next, we have the Wonderland Tarot. This has nothing to do with Alice in Wonderland. I don't know why it's called this. I believe there are 2 decks that have this name. It's in a hefty 2-part box. It is a deck that I like. I think this probably is AI, but I'm not sure. But it's bright and colorful. It's pop. It's different. It's interesting. It, again, is a very, it's both day and night. We've got a combination of daytime images and nighttime images. Fairy tale-like quality to the style of the imagery. And I like it quite a bit. The cards don't all follow strictly to the traditional RWS archetype, so sometimes it's a little bit sketchy to just go by intuition. But I like the style. Again, I love stylized art. This is very stylized. I like the palette, and I'm holding on to this. Here, this is a toughie. Vector art, not AI. Yeah, okay. This one, this is the Voynich Tarot, which I got on Etsy. And I think this is another one that's AI, but I'm not sure. It doesn't look like it, but I think somewhere in the description it said it was. I like this from a kind of a natural history point of view, but it turns out that some of these plants don't actually exist in natural history. And I got it more because it's really pretty, and it looks like a kind of a medieval manuscript of natural history or a botanical reference book or something. But it's not necessarily, I think they changed the element labels, and it's not like, you can't really read it intuitively, but really, really beautiful illustrations. And I think because I don't use it and because the elements are changed, I probably will let this go. However, it's so new to me. I'm going to put it in the pile to reconsider in 6 months, whether this is something to hang on to or not. Because initially I just got it because the illustrations were so gorgeous of plants. And I like to have something refreshing, like a sort of a bouquet and a tarot deck when I go to the cafe and the sun shining in through the window, just something pretty to look at. So I'll hold on to this, but maybe not for a long time. I don't think this may not be permanently in my collection. But for now, it's just kind of enough of an oddity that I think I will retain it. We've got 2 left. One of them is the Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot, which some people like, some people can't stand. It is a medieval manuscript that people have been trying to translate for years. I think the original is at Yale. Pretty plants. I'm not really sure about that. I think most of it is original art. See, I don't think that some of the plants, I think I read somewhere, maybe it's in the book, that some of the plants, they're either extinct or never existed on planet Earth. So it was only through the mind of the artist that they came about. I'm not sure. Anyway, the Radiant Wise Spirit. I didn't like this initially. I had an issue with one of the cards. The line work is a little bit thick and kind of globby or clumpy. I mean, it's a little bit heavy-handed. I like the moodiness of it. And this one, I've always said, looks to me like they took an RWS deck and dipped it in a plate of, or a dish of olive oil, which is kind of fun in a way. I like the kind of moody, melancholy quality of it. But the line work isn't as refined as one might desire. And I had a real big issue with the 6 of Pentacles, I think, if I can find it, because it's misprinted. And even when they reprinted it, they didn't correct it. It's the one that has the scales in it. Oh, here we go. And if you look, there's broken line work in the art on the scales. Now, how tough would it have been to take a marker or digitally on a computer to fill in those lines and fix that? Not tough at all, but they didn't do it. And I thought, that kind of defeats the whole idea of, the interpretation of this card. And then I got to thinking about it, and I thought, actually, it doesn't. Because when you look at the card, it's like the scales aren't even, like one person's getting coins and the other isn't, or maybe one's getting more coins than the other. So it's a matter of like fair sharing, but how fair can the sharing be if your scales are broken or don't work properly? So I kind of like wrapped my head around a new way of looking at interpreting that card. I didn't use it for a long time. And then we had a study group that Kristen was in, where we would meet on Sundays, and about 6 or 7 of us would do spreads together and each take our turns. And she used this deck. And when I saw it on screen, I fell in love with it again. I thought, I really like the kind of oily, saturated, really kind of nice feel of that. And now it makes me feel like a deck I might want to use if I'm sitting at a table with a tablecloth in an Italian restaurant where I'm having pasta and a little saucer with olive oil and that Italian bread to dip in it. Perfect companion for that. So there's that. And the final deck for today is the Fountain Tarot. This is a deck I would never have bought for myself. My partner bought me this last birthday, I think. And his first tarot deck he's bought for me. He didn't know what I had. I don't know why he picked out this one. He went into a metaphysical store, which he never does. And I think he probably asked for some advice or looked around. Maybe this was his aesthetic more than mine. It's a modern deck, modern style, which I don't relate to generally. It's got a metallic edging, which I don't like. I don't like mixing metal and paper, but it kind of works for this deck. If you don't know the Fountain Tarot, it's these modern abstract images that are a little on the cold side and a little bit kind of through mist, sort of not the sharpest, and little daydreamy, but again, very modern, very modern. And when I didn't like it at first, and I thought, oh, why this deck? But when I sat down and tried to do a couple readings with it, it opened me up to kind of widen my perspectives and my interest in tarot, and exposed me to try a kind of deck that I'm not normally drawn to, and it actually worked for me. So I haven't been drawn back to use it much, but the few handful of readings I did with it really worked out well, and I really enjoyed it. So it was nice that he thought to expose me to something that I would normally just push aside and not even attempt to tackle. So that's the Fountain Tarot. Sometimes I don't hold on to gifts and do rehome stuff, but usually it's after I've had it for a while. I'm going to hold on to this. I think in the next year or so, I may use it. And if not, I may just hold on to it for personal reasons of receiving a gift. Anyway, we've gone over by 17 minutes. I want to thank you for joining me. I used to have that deck. I considered getting it. It is pretty. No, I don't know if she's talking about the Radiant Wise or the Fountain. But anyway, I have the Radiant Wise. I chose it because of colors and magnification, but it's so hard to shuffle. Oh, I haven't had trouble with that, but all right. Well, thank you all. Again, next week, I'll probably try to put a notice on my channel page to let you know or remind you that I won't be here next week. I will be at the opera seeing The Magic Flute, which I've seen once before, but this production looks to be very visually stimulating. So this will be a big early Christmas treat to myself. And the following week, supposedly, I will have had the Grim Tales Tarot that I can share with you. And then after that, we'll move on to shelf number 11. Okay, bye, folks. Enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving weekend and your week coming up. And actually, I guess I won't see you. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.